I think this is live now, fellas.
Oh, goody.
I think Griffin asked 75 times if we could go live, and I'm just like, I don't care. Do whatever you want.
Joe Flacco plays at 425, so I gotta,
We're not. I don't think we're going to be wrapped up
Will the
by
Ravens
then.
game be over by then? I mean, they've been dragging this out for 20 minutes.
It's the Project Game Day postgame show. Glenn Clark. I don't even know who's going to be on this one. I've gotten lots of texts from people that aren't on the call, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Ravens dropped to 1-5 on the season, which is not terribly surprising. Project Game Day postgame show is brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER and helpmygamblingproblem.org. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, give them a call for free confidential services. Um, I it's weird because I feel like this is going to devolve into just, who we're going to fire and all that sort of stuff. I kind of like to spend a minute talking about the football game before we get to that because I just feel like there actually was a chance. That's the crazy part. Unlike last week when the Ravens had no chance to win the game, I actually think they had a chance to win this game. And so in this way, this week is kind of disappointing to me. A lot of things that unfolded. I think there's going to be a lot of people that wonder whether or not Tyler Huntley should have started the game. I frankly don't know that Tyler Huntley was going to do all that much because I think there's a limit to what you get with Tyler Huntley. But did you need to try to gimmick this up from the get-go because you knew you weren't going to be good enough otherwise? I think maybe there's a conversation to be had about that. I'm not sure. And obviously, whatever happened at the end of the half, there will be lots to say about that and where that line is between the actual calls and the execution. I'm not sure. But for the game itself, I'm going to give Ken the first word because he's been waiting the longest. Ken.
So the game itself, I feel more disappointed this week than I did last week because I agree with a lot of what you said. That this felt like a winnable game at halftime. Um, I felt, you know, Zach Orr was under immense pressure from the fan base. And you have to commend the effort that the defense had today. I mean, the Rams are a good football team with lots of offensive weapons. They've been rolling this year, offensively at least. And the Ravens, I mean, it's going to look like it's 17 points, but not all those points are on the defense because of the turnovers and things like that. So, you know,
I'm
the
gonna I'm
Zach,
gonna I'm gonna only interject slightly. I I think you're being this is weird from you. I think you're being incredibly kind there. They were also gifted the fact that the Rams insanely decided to go for it on 4th and 3, and that would have been points. And then the guy
well,
missed a
yeah, but
26-yard field goal. Like
okay, but
I, I don't
those
think it
things
was a
equal out to
dominant
me.
defensive performance. I think
I'm
it was
not,
maybe
I
slightly better than what we've seen, but I
well, they gave up 17 points. I don't care how it was done.
right.
And, you know, they only gave up 17
I
points. Now,
well, I do think it
whether,
matters how
whether,
it was. I will push back there too.
no,
Like
no,
Matt
no, no,
Stafford
no.
missing two wide open receivers in the end zone on their first drive. I'm not going to give them credit and say there's a much different result. Like I don't think they were abominable, but I think saying it was anything more than that
Well,
isn't.
you and I watched a very different game then because I don't think when you use the word abominable
I
that
said
you
it
think it's
wasn't
slight.
abominable.
Yeah, you said it was slightly better than that.
Yeah.
I think there's a wide range from that. But you watched your game, I watched my game. I thought the defense was better. I thought you and I talked about this a little bit, you know, via text. I thought the pass rush was better. I'm not saying it was good enough. I'm saying it was better. I thought that they handled themselves better. So I'm going to give them some credit there. Um, Offensively, I don't understand anything. I'm going to say that right now. Cooper Rush, you're a winner in life, but you can move on now. I don't think Huntley's any better than you and would have made a hill of a beans difference. But Cooper Rush, you're not the answer here in Baltimore. Congratulations being 9-5 in Dallas. it's time for you to go. You can't play quarterback in Baltimore. Um, Offensively, and I don't know how to get around being nitpicky here, Glenn, without going into their failures in the red zone and the insane play calling based on how the game was being played on those two red zone offensive possessions. That game really should have been at worst 13-3, 17-3 at the half with the Ravens leading, in my opinion. But this is a theme with this team. Try to get cute, try to do things that, why we can't just do things that are working and continue along the way. I don't understand. I don't know who's to blame, but
Part of
it
that
is
is
what it
is
is.
is nothing works. There's definitely something to
Well,
be
well,
said for
it's not.
that.
It's not that nothing. See, but that's where. See, nothing works when you don't do what is working. And Derrick Henry was working
And,
today.
and to be fair, they did on fourth down, and it didn't work because the offensive line doesn't work, and
Well,
that's
but
part of the
but
problem. Like that is part of the issue. Let me go to Rita. I'll come back. I promise. We're not leaving you. Rita's up next. Go ahead, Rita. Your thoughts on today?
I thought the defense played better today. I mean, obviously, you're not wrong in the sense of like, yeah, I mean, there were some miscues from the Rams and some drop passes, but those things happen in games. It is what it is. I still think that compared to last week, they played better football. Offensively, I think that there's a regression by Todd Monken, and by regression, I mean that there are things that he did last year that he's still doing this year, like taking Derrick Henry out of situations and putting Justice Hill in situations that does not belong. That third and short, fourth and short is ridiculous to me. Under any circumstance, do you not take Derrick Henry out in those situations because you at least want the defense to think Derrick Henry is getting the ball, whether he gets it or not. He hasn't learned his lesson from that, and I have a problem with that. The offensive line is weak. This is probably one of the worst guard tandems in the league. And because of that, I don't agree. I know people didn't really have an issue with like them tush pushing, but I do have an issue with it because you're eliminating instead of when you're not using Derrick Henry and using the tight end Mark Andrews, you're taking away one less blocker in doing so. So in that regard, because that offensive line is so poor, I have a problem with that. And then on fourth down, my thing is that what you did on fourth down, you probably should have did the other downs, and you didn't do. And then fourth down, maybe do something different, like a play action or something like that. That would have been something that I would have done. But obviously, the Ravens had another plan. So while the defense wasn't great, I do think that they were better. And today, to me, is about how just the offense just couldn't get it together. Zay Flowers trying to be Superman, and while we should blame Zay because at the end of the day, you have to hold on to the ball. I understand him trying to put his cape on and have a Superman mentality of trying to put this team on his back. And it's unfortunate because he felt like he needed to do something because there were so many parts that weren't working outside of Derrick Henry, outside of, Mark Andrews having a solid day in terms of catching. So I don't know where this team goes from here. I mean, obviously Lamar has masked a lot of discrepancies within this offense, and it's clear. And I'm with KZ that Cooper Rush needs to go home and be a family man because he don't have it no more. Okay, go do something else. Go spend time with your kids. You're not about to be 40-year-old Joe Flacco in this league. You are just not that good, bro. You stink. And as a person who has always been critical of Tyler Huntley, because I think that I don't think his arm strength is the best. I was one of the people online begging for Tyler Huntley to come back. That's how you know it was bad. So, Tyus, you up next.
This is gonna put me on the spot, huh? Okay. Okay. I mean, like everybody said, offense is just it's rough to watch. I mean, quarterback play is a struggle, and it showed. Um, I mean, I still don't understand the fourth down, you know, 1 yard line. You got Derrick Henry right there to get you in the end zone, especially when you've been using them the plays before to get you down there. It's like, why stop? You know? And like it was mentioned, people are not going to respect the pass, regardless if you have Derrick Henry in there or not, because they know that the pass game has just been a struggle. And regardless if you do have him back there, people's focus on the run and the pass could be there, and they still don't even respect the pass. And that should tell you everything. Because if you can't even bring in Derrick Henry and feel like you need to change your defense, and you could be fine in the pass game, whether they get 5, 6 yards or whatever, knowing that they probably won't get it because the ball ain't gonna get there in time, or somebody not gonna be open, he gonna hold it for a sack or throw it away. I mean, things got to be changed in that area. But I can definitely say the defense played a little bit better today. Um, Pass rush was okay. They still could have got there, a few more times. But I mean, it's rough going into the bye week 1-5. So we're going to see what moves is going to be made, whether that's through the players, through the coaches, staff, whatever the case may be. So I guess we'll see in 2 weeks who's playing, who's here, who's not, and then see how the rest of the season goes.
Yeah, and if Lamar Jackson can save everything, which sort of becomes the topic, and I think that that's the first place of focus, and it's part of why I'm reluctant to say that I think the context of was the defense better today is was the defense better? Ken, you said that Zach Orr has been maligned. I didn't see. I definitely did not see what you thought you saw on the edge rush. That John Jenkins made a play that had nothing to do with the rush. It was just to be fair, John Jenkins made a hell of a play, right? And deserves all the credit for that. The sack at the end, that actually was, I thought, a pretty decent play call. Obviously, the game was basically over at that point, but it happened. I can't pretend like it didn't. In between there, I didn't see any of what you thought you saw. I saw Matt Stafford having forever to throw, and the joke, I don't remember, I think it was Jonas who made it earlier, where he said he was almost rattled by how much time he had to throw early on in the game. And I saw the same thing where I said, this guy almost looks jittery for no reason. Aren't I supposed to being pressured right now? What is going on here that I'm not being pressured? I just didn't see it. And again, the most defining part to me of why I do think they kind of have to make a change at defensive coordinator is because of that. Because whatever else is going on, Marlon Humphrey actually made a couple plays today. I think there's a question about whether or not maybe Marlon Humphrey would be better off at outside corner. For as well as he's played inside, I don't know. He looked like a different guy to me today than he looked like earlier in the season when he was playing on the outside. We of course saw the play that he made against Puka Nacua where Nacua got hurt. But there is nothing the continued lack of consistent pressure is ultimately to me, and Tyus, I'll start with you, why I just don't know that you can continue to do this with Zach Orr as much as we like him.
Oh man, it's I don't even know where to honestly start. I mean, the main thing is the struggle of the pressure. You want to get pressure on the quarterback to make him make mistakes. You want to put that out there to open up your defense even more. But when you're struggling to get to the quarterback, especially with Matthew Stafford being the guy who, operates on a timely manner. And like you said, he's jittery back there because he's thinking I need to get this out at a certain time, but it might not be open at this moment. And normally I'm having somebody on my back. But for some strange reason, I'm still sitting back here feeling good by myself. And that is a bad thing. That's a very bad thing. And I mean, honestly, I don't even know what the answer is. I mean, you get in draft capital, by trading Dafe. And, you know, I sit here and he gets a sack, his first rep in the game. And I don't know whether it's just the thing of people leaving Baltimore and things work out for him well or what, but I don't know. Some type of answer needs to be made. And like I said, maybe during the trade during this bye week, there might be some trades being made. Somebody's gonna definitely have to come in and help this pass rush out because Calvin Noah can't be the only one that is the savior or the person that they go to for that because it takes more than one person. So we'll see how it goes. But today wasn't a good day for the pass rush.
Rita, where you at with the Zach Orr conversation?
Hey, Did he rush 2 people on 4th down?
That definitely happened. That
Yeah.
Tyus, is that as insane as we all thought it was? Like we all thought it was the
I
most
got off
insane
the
thing.
wagon at that very moment. I mean, I've been off the wagon, but that confirmed me getting off the wagon. I said, "Hey, I don't know what the fuck be going on." Yeah, I had to curse right there because I'm sorry. That was if that is not the biggest what the fuck moment that you've seen this far, and we've seen a lot of things. That is to me at the top of the list. Your job is on the line, right? Like where people are actively clamoring for you to be fired, and you do that on 4th down. I think you trying to get fired. So you know how when people try to get fired so they get unemployment. I think that's what it felt like. It felt like somebody that was like, "Well, I know I'm about to be fired, so let me do a fireable offense, so then that way I can get unemployment as opposed to like quitting and then not getting unemployment." Like I don't know what was going on in his mind in that moment, or maybe somebody read that wrong. I don't know. I'm praying that somebody read that wrong and that's not what the call was. Because what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Reeta, I know it's going to sound crazy. I actually think there was a moment that was worse, which was in the first half when it was 3rd and 9, and they took a timeout, only to come out of the timeout with 0 pressure and Puka Nakua standing by himself 15 yards down the field.
Yes, it was.
Like,
that was also another one. Like you call yourself fixing whatever the problem needed to be fixed. So something's just not registering, and I'm not asking for Zach to be like fired. Like I don't want him to not be a part of the staff. I just think I don't know how well a demotion is going to work for him. Maybe somebody needs to just take over as the defensive coordinator. But I don't think he should be calling the plays no more. And I can't. Knowing John Harbaugh, who knows if that's even going to be a thing. But if I'm Stephen Shoddy, I'm going in that office and being like, you don't really have a choice, bro. If you want to keep your job, I suggest you let everybody know that he ain't keeping his job because the experiment is over. Okay. And we've learned that, when he had help, obviously it got better at the end of last year. But we know what it looks like at this point when he's doing it on his own. It's just not working. And it's okay for us to just cut our losses and be like, hey, this is not working. I'm trying to salvage the season. There's 2/3 of a season left, and we got to do something different.
Ken, we're trying to give the defense some credit. Where you at with the Zach Orr conversation?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if a scheme's going to be any better if you don't have the players. I mean, I just don't know.
By the way, I don't disagree with that part, but I almost feel like you don't have a choice but to try. Think, you have to try to find out.
I guess so. I mean, it's the baseball, it's the Orioles. I mean, you didn't want Hyde to fire, but you had to do something. You knew it wasn't going to make a hill of beans difference, but you had to send a message somehow, and maybe it sends a message if you make that change. But there's plenty of coaches that I don't think should be here after the bye. So if you just want to make Zach Orr the scapegoat, make him the scapegoat and be done with it.
I don't know that it's a scapegoat though, Ken. Like
I don't know.
What's the justification for him continuing?
Do you believe Harbaugh when he says that Pease and Pagano are still in there helping and talking over the game plan and making suggestions?
Right. If your argument is I don't have a lot of faith in if Pagano is part of this, then I don't have a lot of faith in him either. Well, I'm listening to that. But the only part I'm pushing about,
I'm just saying
is the idea
like last year. You're saying last year, when they brought Pease in to help him, everything kind of turned around a little bit. And from what I hear out of head coach ball is that that's still going on and those things are still
just to make sure
happening.
We're
clear. But I thought we confirmed that Pease was not.
Pease
is
not in the building. He is not.
He's not in the building, but he's on the phone.
Building.
I think that makes a difference. That don't mean nothing being on the phone. I need you to be there. I need you to be there.
But okay. So again, whether he stays or whether he goes, I think is immaterial. I'm fine with it. I mean, somebody's going to get fired over these 2 weeks. I mean, maybe it's the offensive line coach. Maybe it's the
Well, that,
it's
by the way,
the
that
it's
conversation I think is warranted too. Like
I don't know what it is. I mean, we can complain about the offensive line and they're bad, but you also had a running back that went for what did he go for 125 yards today. So they were blocking a little bit. They're making some room for him today. The game plan itself, I thought was a solid game plan coming in. You look at the Rams defensive line, you outweigh them by 40 pounds a person, and you try to enforce your will, and it was working. It just doesn't.
Until penalties, like that really
Well,
was ultimately
until penalties and until Moncton does what Moncton has now done for 2 years.
Wait a second. Because again, I got issues with Todd Monken, but it's important to say everything they were doing was fine until they got down on the first drive. They were gushing it. And Todd Monken didn't do anything wrong there. Faalele committed a hold that backed him up
I understand
the second 16.
But nobody on the offensive line on 2nd and 1 from the foot line made any for 3 plays made any problems or had any
that's
issues
completely untrue.
or no holding.
Both Voorhees and Faalele whiffed.
Insanely for the second year in a row and for constantly. I mean, they drew penalties just by Henry being on the freaking field. It puts fear in the other line. But on second, third, and 4th and 1, we can't have them on the field. We have to run these stupid plays that we're not good at. Justice Hill has to have his complement of plays every freaking week in short yardage. It is the most insane thing. I forget about everything that happened up to that point. You're
not going to forget about everything that happened up to that point. I know you're trying to make a point. I understand that.
The game was what the game was, and you had 2 opportunities to just push the ball into the end zone with Derrick Henry, but you took him out of the game.
My favorite thing is that tweet that Griffin just put up. No shit, Sherlock.
What happened? I didn't see it.
Put it back out.
This is about the tush push.
Literally, since y'all were talking about it, I mean, it was literally.
John Harbaugh says it should get pushed in on the first one, and if not the first one, it should get pushed in on the second one. And that's part of the problem with when we break this down. And
for God's sake, it shouldn't even be called with Derrick Henry.
Ken, stop.
God bless.
Stop for a second.
When's he getting fired?
He's not wrong, though.
The Ravens have run this with Mark Andrews a ton, and it almost always has succeeded. And it's easy to say don't do it, in part because it doesn't work, but also because it feels like we're having a bit greater conversation about we'll use the word cute. I understand that, but they've run this an S-ton, and it's almost always worked.
My opinion is they got to commit to one or the other. You either tush push 4 times or you give it to Derrick Henry 4 times. Because at some point you're picking up an inch, and they tried to mix it up and it didn't work.
Well, yeah, it was 3 times by the time they got it to the 1.
And then they called. I love that they called a timeout to come up with the 4th down play. I mean, that was brilliant.
Yes, that.
But this is I guess my thing is that I'm not doing that. Period. Right? Like, what has this offensive line done this year? I know that Derrick Henry had a good game today. I get it. So you feel confident in them in this game. But what have they done overall this season to make you think that they got enough push for?
Well, I would add to it. Also, keep in mind early on in the game, Ronnie Stanley was also in the game, and by that point, Ronnie Stanley was out of the game, and
that's
Joe
true too.
Noteboom
Good
was
point.
At left tackle, and Joe Noteboom got his ass kicked today.
Which is why what I was saying earlier, though, Glenn, to your point, like Mark Andrews now eliminates a blocker as opposed to him trying to be the pusher with the ball carrier at that point, and that's why I didn't like it to begin with. So you're right. I forgot that Stanley was also not there. It's a no for me. That's all.
Yeah, it's a weird one for me because they've done it so well that like it's one of the odd things where I'll say like, yeah, I do think there's a point. Like you expect that you're going to get it because you've gotten it a ton of times, but you're almost, if the answer is the offensive line isn't working, then what do you think is going to work in that spot? And to the point, if the offensive line is broken, I don't know what the answer is. Tyus, you give me your thoughts because Kadri brought this up to me last week and said, I think we do need to have a George Warhop conversation. And it's not sexy to talk about off-position coaches and what might be going on there. But I was stunned. One, I thought for sure this would be the week where the Ravens said, look, it is not working with these guards. We've got to give someone else a chance and see if we can't make it work with one of these guards. I'm stunned that they stuck with these two guys, Voorhees and Faalele. And yeah, they did run the ball. And that's the thing that Faalele actually is kind of good at. Actually, sorry, it's the opposite way. Faalele is a better pass blocker than he is a run blocker. I'm stunned that they stuck it out with these guys and the penalties mounted, and the penalties, to me, negate anything positive they did in the run game.
I mean, that was the deciding factor, honestly, in my opinion, because we had good plays set up to where we got good yards to put ourselves in a better position to get a first down. But when you having a bunch of holding calls on good runs, on passes that are needed, and then you putting the quarterback in a very bad position, knowing that they got to pass the ball, they know that the offensive line sucks, and you got these rushers that's just clawing at the mouth, ready to go out here and attack. And of course, as we all know, Cooper Rush is struggling to get the ball out, is struggling to find the right players. And it doesn't help with Hundley in there too, especially when you're in a situation of having to go and pass the ball. And he haven't got any reps probably at all throughout the entire season. And you just putting out the whole entire playbook on him. And when it's moving that fast and you still trying to get in the groove of the playbook and the game, and you coming in the fourth quarter trying to win a game, I mean, yeah, we're pros, but at the same time, that's not an easy task to handle. And to put that on them like that, especially with a rough offensive line and a quarterback who hasn't had a lot of game reps and experience back there over the season, I mean, I don't know what else you expect besides a bunch of sacks and fourth downs and all different types of stuff. So honestly, I wish I had an answer for you in that situation. You can probably blame it on the offensive line or the game plan, whatever you want to be, or giving other guys a chance. But I mean, none of that is honestly going to help in any type of way. So honestly, I have no answer for you.
By the way, the area where I'll agree, because Ken and I have disagreed a ton, is I absolutely, it is insane the number of times Derrick Henry comes off the field. It is batshit insane.
Yeah,
The number of times
he's learned nothing. He's learned nothing from last year. He's learned nothing, and that's the problem that I have with this coaching staff in general. I don't feel like anybody has learned anything, and I don't understand how you sit there and there's literally everybody's going to fear Derrick Henry. I don't care who you are now. You might think that you can beat the matchup, but obviously you feel like that's the matchup. That's the hardest matchup of it all, and you're eliminating him by taking him off the field. Every time that the Ravens lost last year, it's because Derrick Henry ran under 20 yards. 20 carries. It's a fact. Okay, it's a fact. I didn't make that up. It's a fact. And then you turn around and don't give defenses any. Everybody knows what happens when Justice Hill comes in. You don't even try to imagine to give them a reason to think that you're doing something different this time. So that's a problem to me, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and thinking that you're going to get a different outcome. And that's the problem that I have with Todd Monken, is that you've learned nothing from the year before, because the exact same stuff that we're talking about now and complaining about now, we had this conversation last year, y'all. And like, when do you say, I got to stop taking Derrick Henry off the field? He's Derrick freaking Henry, a Hall of Fame running back. And you keep eliminating him in third and short, fourth and short situations. It's ridiculous.
That part I'm in complete agreement with. Utter and complete agreement with.
Fireable offense.
No, not by itself. Not by itself.
It is.
Not by itself, but
it is.
It's not by itself.
Ken, you're saying that because you just fire
thing.
everybody.
No, but here's the
No, I don't.
No,
I don't.
okay.
I'm tired of it. It's year after year with this
I agree
group.
with this. I agree.
It's year after year. And you know what? And I hate to say it, because whatever. I haven't liked this guy for 10 years. What are you like? Can't you say in your headset, get the damn man on the field? I don't care what play
Getting ready
you
to
call.
say too. What is Harbaugh?
I don't care what play
is he
you call.
doing?
Get him on the field. I thought for
doing?
sure when they called timeout to set up the fourth down play, that he was basically saying to him, give Henry the ball. I don't care if he's stuck. Give him the ball. And then he throw a fade to the smallest man on the field. Do you know how perfect a fade's got to be for Zay to catch it? We love Zay. Zay had his attributes. He's got to hold on to the ball today. You threw a fade to Zay, not to Hopkins, not to Likely, not to Andrews, not to Bateman. You threw it. You called a play. You called timeout. You said, "This is what we're going to do, guys." The 5'6" guy is going to catch a fade from a quarterback that can't throw. So, how does that happen? How does everybody break the timeout and say, "This is what we're going with"? Somebody explain that to me.
I'm not sure that it was supposed to be a fade. I think there was a miscommunication on what was called.
I'm so tired of that word.
But to the point, it doesn't excuse any of it.
I got Tyus there. Tyus tired of the miscommunication.
It doesn't excuse any of it.
Glenn, I want to reiterate what KZ said too. Like, I understand that you're saying like that's not a fire offense.
Alone is the point that I made.
But then I got a problem with Harbaugh because you're the head coach of this whole. And I understand you don't want to get involved and tell people what to do. But guess what? Why do you think that you're so comfortable that you don't have to step in and say, "I need you to step up and do"? Hey, why the fuck is Derrick Henry not on the field? On the fucking field. That is John Harbaugh's job, in my opinion. Now what's gonna happen is, let me tell you, he's gonna go into press conference tomorrow and do the same thing that he did last week or 2 weeks ago when he sat there and he blamed Todd Monken. Well, Todd did this and he didn't do that. Well, you're the damn head coach. Call it in and say, do not put 22 off the field when it comes to 3rd and 4th down. Say something in the damn microphone. And that's the problem that I got with him, because you are the operator of this entire thing. And you out here what are you doing? You just a bystander like me, you, Tyus, and KZ. He doing the same thing we doing, which is nothing. Saying nothing. That's the problem that I have. And then tomorrow he gonna be trying to hold somebody else accountable.
Rita, I don't disagree with any of that. I don't disagree with any of that. But again, this is the things. Yes. Now what? Right? Like that's where, to the point. It's part of why at some point John Harbaugh will have to answer for all of this, 100%. And if you want me to say,
but nobody's to me. I haven't heard anybody ask him straight up, why aren't you doing
it? He has. They have been. That question, it didn't happen last week, but it's come up a couple of times.
This year?
Yeah, he's given diplomatic answers about it. And
okay, I ain't heard it. So
you're not going to be set. But Rita, if the results are the same, you're not going to care what the answer is.
Doesn't matter. Keep asking it, because at the end of the day, you want people to put you need to be. These are the media people. They have jobs. Put it on notice. You are the head of this operation, and if you see a problem, why are you not doing it in the moment as opposed to coming to a podium after the fact to say, I had this problem? I don't want to hear that no more. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm tired of you saying that. I'm tired of you blaming everybody else when you are the person in charge of all of this shit.
Let me get to the tangible stuff that has come out real quick. Project Gameday Postgame Show is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. Next week's a bye week. You can't be hurt. Just go watch football. Just don't check all out. Go hang out inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Nothing can hurt you next Sunday. That's the place to be. There you go. John Harbaugh says he doesn't anticipate making any coaching changes this week.
And therein lies the problem.
Quote, I don't think there's any obvious. Go back to that for a second, Griffin, so I can see it again. Just want to make sure I have the quote correct. Jonas Schaefer from the Baltimore Banner shared this. Griffin, can you put that back up on the screen? Thank you. I don't think there's any obvious move there that would make us better. I don't know if it would make you better or not. I don't know. I can't say that with certainty, but you're not good. So,
something needs to change.
But right, like that's the reality.
Insanity.
Yeah, but insanity. Okay. Let me not be the one to defend him. But what's he going to say right after a game?
Well, no, and we talked about that last week.
I agree. We all agree something's got to change. Somebody somewhere. Maybe it's the second string ball boy to make an example out of him. I don't know who it is, but what's he going to say right after a game?
No, coaches don't do that right after games either. And also, it might not be his choice, as Rita pointed out. Like, it might be one of those things where John Harbaugh really doesn't want to do it, and he's informed that that's what's going to happen, and we'll see. Steve Bisciotti has been very hands off. I was told last week that he was a bit more demonstrative at the game than we've been used to seeing Steve Bisciotti in recent years. So,
well, he's had 2 weeks in a row where his stadium's been empty in the fourth quarter. So he
yeah,
can't be happy about that.
I think that this is one that's tough for fans to understand. That part doesn't really care about all that much, like that specific part of it. The losing matters. But if they were losing in front of a full stadium, it wouldn't make much of a difference. He's got all the ticket money already. Like, it's not costing him any dollars.
All right, so we've had this conversation about today's game, and I think, sorry, Glenn.
Real quick, I do have to say,
go ahead, do it.
Tavius Robinson broke his foot. So on top of everything else,
oh man,
add that to the list. Tavius Robinson broken foot. So
go ahead and get to promo in. Thank you.
No, I did that. You can go. It's okay.
You ain't got another one?
I've got way more I got to do. Which one do we want to do now? We can do this one's brought to you by the Costas Inn and the all-new Costas Inn, now open in Timonium at the Grandstand. You can only get the steamed crabs at the OG Costas Inn over on North Point Boulevard, but everything else you love, including the amazing cream of crab soup, the jalapeno crab poppers, you can get those at the Costas Inn in Timonium.
All right, so this is my fear moving forward, right? They say Lamar's expected to be back after the bye. I keep seeing it come up on my phone. Whoop-de-doo, like my guy says. But also, don't get me wrong, that's a big deal. I'm just saying, I don't know if it's too late or not. That's all. What we need to start having a conversation about, though, is like how the rest of the season goes is going to affect how this offseason goes, in my opinion. And I say that because obviously we know that Lamar has a $75 million cap hit coming up. No?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk to my son who wants to talk to me right now. I'm trying to tell him he can't.
I was wrong.
No. You're good. Okay. I'm just trying to tell my son that he can't.
Hey, son. He has a $75 million cap hit that's coming up, obviously, that the Ravens are going to want to restructure, right? And I would not be surprised if Lamar is hesitant on doing so without some changes being made. And I think that that's something that we have to start looking at moving forward, because what's happening here, y'all, and Bisciotti needs to feel some type of way about this too, right? Lamar is going to be a Hall of Famer. I think we've all said this before, early in the season. We talked about, his accomplishments and what he's done so far. And in my opinion, he's going to Canton one day. But Lamar is currently in his prime. And as of right now, it does not appear that the Ravens will even make the playoffs. Obviously, we know that injuries have played a role into this, but coaching has been a big part of this as well. Lamar's good years are being wasted. And somebody's going to have to make a decision on what that looks like moving forward, which also means this is not just a Todd Monken thing, right? This is a John Harbaugh thing. And what is it that you need to do? So if you're telling me, and you told us this last week too, about Bisciotti being in the suite looking unhappy about this, because, people out here think that Bisciotti is just good with the Ravens being good and making the playoffs and not necessarily being Super Bowl champions, but getting fans in the seats and getting good enough. This is how people think. I'm not saying that this is what the truth is. I'm just telling you how a lot of the general public feels. If you're out here wasting Lamar's good years and somebody gets into Lamar's ear and says that, what chance do you have of potentially this being a standstill and then you having a $75 million cap, because he needs changes to be made? And these are conversations that we have to start having, because this is real. This is real.
I hear everything you're saying, Rita, and to an extent, no, there is a but, which is at the moment, everyone would tell you that Lamar has had no problems with the decisions that have been made. And that
I'm talking about now the current. Listen, they're 1-5. You can't tell me at this point in time that he's cool with how things are going. Nobody. I
don't think he's cool with it, but I also think that he believes that when he gets on the field, they're going to go win every game that they play.
Maybe yes, because he's Lamar Jackson,
right?
He's supposed to, but the offensive line is poor,
right?
Defense is poor. We're sitting here complaining about the play calling. We're sitting here complaining about the fact that the head coach won't interject into the play calling. These are problems.
I don't disagree.
It's the perfect storm.
I think there's two separate thoughts there, Rita. I agree completely about them being problems. What I'm saying is, to this point, and I've run this up the flagpole about other things, there is nothing that exists that suggests that Lamar Jackson wants changes at any level. And I would
He's
even
never
go.
going to come out and say something like
No,
that. So let's
it's
start
beyond.
there.
No, it's beyond that. It's
Okay.
beyond that.
You more inside than me. It doesn't mean that at some point that it's going to manifest. I'm thinking in the future. You're talking about the now. I'm saying moving forward, if this trend continues, how does this affect your renegotiating with a guy who at some point might come to the conclusion that his prime years are being wasted?
I think that's really hard. I think it's something that sounds. I know exactly the way that it sounds. I think that it paints a picture where Lamar Jackson believes that if he were just somewhere else, that he would be in a better situation. And again, I think that's an opinion that some people might have, but everything that I've got in dealing with is that that's not something that Lamar feels even a little bit.
Good. And I hope it doesn't change because listen, when you watch what's going on here and you're seeing the same things that are happening from the year before and how, and again, with the Derrick Henry situation and how things have played out, it would be a problem for me if I'm Lamar Jackson.
I have no. It's a really intricate problem versus like imagine being somewhere where like you could be in Cincinnati.
Oh, 1,000%.
And it's an organization that's just incompetent. And I think that's part of I think that's part of what makes this very difficult is what part actually matters, right? Like what do you as a person, as a player, and Tyus, you can speak to this too, right? Like what part of that matters most to you? Because I think you're right to say, hey, I'd be frustrated too about the idea of Derrick Henry coming off the field in those situations. But more frustrated than that, than by the idea of being somewhere where you're going to have, I like to say wasted, you're just going to be asked to throw the ball 87 times a game. They're not going to go out and get you players that you ask them to go out and get. Like the Ravens have made concessions to Lamar Jackson. I don't know that he knows that they would go do that somewhere else. And so, like, I know what you're saying, but I don't think there's anything tangible about it.
Are we saying that a future Hall of Famer would not go somewhere else and get the same autonomy? Is that what we're saying?
I'm saying that there have been like literal proof of that. I mean,
where
the Packers did it to Aaron Rodgers.
Okay,
like we know that this happens constantly in other organizations.
They're publicly owned. Don't care
I understand.
But
they still have a general manager.
The Bengals literally went out and signed two. We sat there and talked about Cincinnati, and yet they signed. We sat there all offseason and said, "Oh, the Bengals ain't gonna sign both of them." And guess what they did? Went out and did both.
Right, but there's no player that wants to be in Cincinnati. Like they don't want to go pay for their meals.
Sign two guys. If you want to play on offense, you do want to play in Cincinnati. No, you do.
Again, you're asking the measure against what? Yes, you have two great offensive weapons, but now you have to literally pay for everything you do because they're the cheapest organization in the history of football. It's
I'm just
a
not
measurement.
Going to subscribe to the idea that a person that one day will be in the Hall of Fame does not have the right. At the Aaron Rodgers situation, look, he was that to me is an anomaly. I think for the most part, guys who are going to lead your team have some say in something.
They mostly they do, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So he could
not
potentially
always.
go somewhere else.
Right.
He could. Well, first of all, you're not going to go anywhere that you don't think that they're going to listen to you. Let's start there.
There's something to be said for that, except what are the options, right? Like this, it comes back to that too.
Because there's not too many good options around here.
Right.
And so while I don't disagree that we don't consider these people options, if you're desperate enough, you damn well going to try to go after Lamar and say,
that's what we said about the Falcons the last time, and they didn't do it. Like, I mean, but this is, Rita, I know everything you're saying, and to some extent, I think there's relevance to it, but I just don't think it's as black and white as that. Like, I think right now, Lamar Jackson, until, again, something were to change, has been very on board with a lot of the decisions that have been made. Like, really has. So if Lamar Jackson walks in this week and says, I've changed my mind, you guys got to get rid of whoever, then that would be an interesting place for the Ravens to be and to figure out what the relevancy of that would be. Because you don't just do whatever a player wants you to do, but it does matter to some extent. As of right now, we have nothing that suggests that Lamar thinks that they're doing something that's that's antithetical to what he's trying to accomplish. So it's a weird spot. If that comes up, I know we're pissed off about a lot of things, and I think we have every right to be pissed off about a lot of things. I would tell you that inside that locker room, part of what's going on is they were literally talking about going 17-0 before the first game of the season.
Sure
Like,
was, and now
were
they're 1-5. So
they were
everything
talking about
everything
that.
changes when you start at times. Am I wrong though on that?
Everything
Everything
changes
changes when
real
you start
quick.
you losing. That's all I'm saying. Everything. Hey, it's one thing when you do one thing, and it's another thing when it ain't. When it ain't slapping.
Hey,
But
especially
here's
in
the thing.
Baltimore.
Here's what I wonder, Rita, because and I think this is all so fair. I just wonder, Lamar's going to come back, and the division all of a sudden that the Ravens play in just absolutely stinks. Like nobody's good. I mean, the Steelers, whatever their record is, 4-1, 5-1, they're putrid. You watch them play football. Aaron Rodgers can't move. Like they don't push the ball down the field. They're not particularly as dominant on defense as they once were. The Bengals, Cincinnati, the Bengals and the Browns are not very good. Like they could go 9-8, 10-7 with the schedule they have. You know, Lamar puts on his cape, and they're offensively great again under him. And then what do you do? And then the problem becomes that there are certain things that don't change year to year, as we talked about. But Superman walks in the building and makes everything okay. And that's, I think, where the Ravens, for me, the Ravens are kind of stuck as a franchise because Lamar is so special and so one of one, and that he will make the offensive line better and he will make the defense better because they're not constantly on the field because they're getting first downs and they're scoring points. Maybe they certainly weren't early in the year, but it's just like where do you go with a team that wins 8 out of their last 10 games, let's say? Um, then the conversation, are you still having the same conversation that you're having now? I guess is my question.
Well, I think that becomes a problem that you deal with when you get there. Like get there first and then have that conversation. They got to prove they can get there, and if the defense
Well, I
doesn't
mean, the best,
improve,
it's all going to be for the like everything you need to know about the season to me is in 2 weeks.
to some extent, yeah. I mean, all right,
I mean,
look,
everything you need to know.
yeah,
Who's back? Who's
right,
back? Who's not?
yes, if
Can they beat a Bears team that I don't think is good, but I also don't think is awful, either. With an offensive, with some time to prepare for the Ravens, I guess, and Lamar Jackson with an offensive, that offense has looked better over recent weeks. So.
If they do, that doesn't guarantee anything to me. But yes,
No, it doesn't, but
if
it'll
they
answer some
don't,
questions.
yes.
Right.
If to your
Right,
point,
if
if they
don't.
get Lamar Jackson and Roquan Smith back and turn around and lose at home to the Chicago Bears, then forget it. Like
Yeah, forget it. Just it's done. We're done.
It's open season now, right?
Yeah.
Like that 100%. That part in complete agreement with. I guess I would just say on the flip side, they could win that game, and we could still sit here and say, okay, well, they're still only 2-5. They still have a long way to go.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot to go, but I guess if the offense looks good again and with Lamar and you have that going for you again, you start to feel a little bit better. And then what do they have? The Jets after that, who are just god awful, or is it Miami?
No, it's
One
Miami.
of those. It's
Miami the week after.
They're terrible.
Yeah. No, they're not good. So that's the reality. Let me try to get to a few of these comments. Today's show also brought to you by Gameday Men's Health. GameDayMen'sHealth.com is the website. Complimentary testosterone test you can sign up for right now. Men of a certain age, you're just dealing with things that you weren't dealing with earlier on in your life. They've got locations in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. They can help you out if you're low T. They can help you out if you're not low T, like I wasn't. Get you on peptide proteins, just start you feeling a little bit better. They can even help you out if you're dealing with things like stubborn belly fat or maybe performance issues in the bedroom. Gameday Men's Health, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. All right, a few things. Our buddy John, this is what we've been saying for the last 3 to 4 years. The Harbs is your head coach. The only position for defensive coordinator has not changed. Guys, and John, we've hashed it out, you and I. I don't know how to say it. It just doesn't matter today. I'm telling you, you might very well be right. The answer might be that the cure to everything for the Baltimore Ravens will be when they have a new head coach next year. But you're still asking them to fire a head coach when the season isn't over, and you're just not going to get that. Short of, I try to think of a scenario. John Harbaugh telling them to fire him. Like Steve Bisciotti comes in and says, you got to fire Zach Orr. He says, you're going to have to fire me. Like short of something like that, teams don't openly choose to fire their coaches when the season isn't over. Even those of you that'll try to go to the level of, well, Penn State just did it. No, their season's over. Their season ended. They could have done it last week. They didn't do it last week because 2 lost teams can still get into the college football playoff. They lost another game, and their quarterback's done for the season. Their season ended, so they fired their coach. You don't choose to fire your head coach because you don't ask for lame duck head coaches. We all know that. So maybe you're right. I don't know what's that's going to get you. If ultimately next year there's a new head coach and they win the Super Bowl, I as much as I love Ken, he's not going to get to become an NFL head coach because he was right about John Harbaugh. Like, maybe you're right. It's just, I know, Ken, I'm stunning. It's just, this is the bare level internet thing where we want to be right. You might be, but it's not going to help anything. That only gives you something. Like, that's it. That's all you get out of it is I get to go on the internet, and it's like talking about your fantasy football team. No one cares. No one cares that you were right. The Ravens aren't firing John Harbaugh this week because the season's not over yet. But as we just said, they turn around in 2 weeks with Lamar Jackson and lose to the Chicago Bears. That's when the conversation can start, frankly. Like, legitimately, the conversation could start then. And be real and be relevant. There is no doubt that there might actually absolutely be truth to it. And it's the reason why when you guys just want me to say fire the coach, it's just not relevant to any actual tangible conversation that can be helpful today. But that doesn't mean that it can't be in the future. Jeff says, did you see that John said the plan all along was to play both quarterbacks? Well, then why didn't Tyler play until the 4th? If that was a weird bit, right?
Don't believe it. Don't believe it.
Yeah, that don't pass the test, Glenn.
Yeah,
that one don't pass.
That's a weird bit, isn't it?
Get up.
Not going for it.
And again, I was surprised. I'm surprised there wasn't a plan for Tyler Huntley. That, hey, on this drive, let's go to Tyler Huntley on this drive and see if we can just keep them, kind of confused. To say the first half didn't present an opportunity to put Huntley out there.
My favorite thing is, I've caught so many people lying so many coaches lying this week in college and pro, and it's just y'all just lie for fun. At this point, stop it. Stop lying for fun.
Right. But here's the thing. I go back to the goal line stance, and I go back to the 4th down. They call timeout. Imagine what happens on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, if
after the timeout, Huntley comes onto the field with Henry. All of a sudden they're like, oh no, what are we doing here? Are they calling timeout right away?
Right.
That's how you know it's a lie, KZ. That's how you know it's a lie.
Where's that? If there were really packages and times, it's like that to me jumps out. It's like, oh, let's try it there. I don't know.
I agree.
I mean, quite frankly, he could have tried to reach from over to goal line and fumbled, but because it's possible not to bring up bad things.
Yeah.
But just even if you didn't use it and it cost them and they called timeout and then you come back with whatever your fade was or whatever, just give somebody something to think about. And that's the biggest problem to me. When they did, I think a couple of times when they finally in the second half kept Henry in the game on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, it changed how the defense was. I think they got 2 encroachments or something like that. You know, it doesn't have to be a successful play. They don't even have to run the play, but just the
To be fair,
threat.
they did also get 2 encroachments with Cooper Rush on the field in the same drive earlier in the game.
Point is valid.
I understand, but just I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
In general, I agree with you. And this goes back to that. One thing that I said earlier, I thought this week would be a kitchen sink type of week. That you pull out whatever shit you've got in the back of the playbook that you've been holding on to that no one sees coming because you acknowledge what you're up against. And I'm saying I'm stunned. I guess I'm not stunned. Like, if what he's trying to say is, well, we were in the game more than we expected to be in the game, so we didn't feel like I can't believe there wasn't any of that gadgetry. Like, you weren't as good of a football team with the guys that are on the field as the team you were up against. I'm stunned there wasn't more gimmickry during the course of the game. The number of times that you've gone to the silly things, like I know we're saying that it's cute to run a tush push, but that's part of the regular offensive play package. Like, I'm almost flabbergasted that we didn't see anything that felt like, hey, we recognize that we're 1-4, we're about to be 1-5, and we better throw the effing kitchen sink at this. That part to me, and what you bring up in, like, just put Tyler Huntley on the field in a short yardage situation and make them think about it. Yeah, I'm with you.
Like, I'm ageist, dog. I'm ready to. I'm ready to get old people up out of here, yo. I swear to God. I'm sorry. No offense to nobody. I don't want to offend nobody.
Is this your Cooper Rush thing?
Monk into. I'm tired of old
right.
people. I'm tired of old people doing stuff because you don't want to innovate. You don't want to do nothing new. You stuck in your ways. You know, they say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm ready to just not have somebody under the age of 55 doing anything in the NFL at this point anymore. I'm really over it. That's just where I'm at. I mean, look at Pete Carroll in Vegas. Do we think that Pete Carroll and his old ass is doing anything? I mean, seriously, like, let's just allow ourselves to evolve. And if you don't know how to evolve, it's because you're stuck in your ways, and that's okay. But go to Shady Pines and do that. Don't go to the NFL and do that. Okay. I'm over monking, not just knowing how to just do the slightest thing, which is put Derrick Henry in a situation. Yes, I'm being ageist. I don't give a damn what y'all think. Okay? Because when I turn 70 and 80 years old, like I told you on the show, Glenn, I'm not going to be out here coaching. I'm not running for Congress. I'm going to be in my swimming pool with my long boobs and my bonnet on.
I get it.
That's what I'm going to be doing. And that's what Todd Monken need to do. He need to go be somebody's grandfather, because at this point, you don't want to do nothing different. Go out here and just take care of your break. Go take them to school. Go pick them up and play your bingo on the weekends.
Tyus, tell me if this matters, because it matters to us for some reason. Zay Flowers was out of the locker room and did not speak to the media after today's game.
Yeah.
And that matters to you?
I mean, it tells you everything. I mean, it tells you, number one, he's probably frustrated at how he played, you know, the times that he could have made plays to help his team be in position to win. He messed up. I mean, he's probably frustrated that he's 1-5. He's probably frustrated that within the offense that there's nothing that's progressing to help that entire operation be better than what it has been the past 5-6 weeks. And it's the bye week, and he probably is like, I need to just get away from here. I need my space, and I need it right now. I don't want to be talking to nobody. I might say something that I probably will regret or that I don't want to talk about. I mean, it's so many factors within that, and I can definitely understand it. And yeah, hearing that, I'm like, I'm honestly not surprised.
I got a question, though.
I have an idea. Hold on.
Okay.
Everybody come over to my house tonight for a barbecue, and we'll go walk over and knock on his door.
Oh, because you live right down the street. Right?
Oh, shut up! I'm not doing that. But I do have a question about that. Like this is not the first time that he's kind of skipped out. I think what was the one that Van Noy came in, and none of the vets came and wanted to speak.
That was the Kansas City game, right?
Do we feel like we understand? Because while I do understand his situation, right? I understand, especially a person that plays football, you're completely entrenched in it, you're emotionally tied to it, your adrenaline is 100%. But when he doesn't speak, it looks on the outside as he lacks accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay,
how,
so then I
you
ask
know,
you this. So what about the situation with Mark Andrews last year?
And I agree. I think a
Where he
lot
and
was
dropped
I
the
said.
I
ball?
I,
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Period. This is not as I want to be clear that this is not a Zay Flowers
No, and I'm
knock.
with you. I think it's just more of you understand the situation, you're aware of it, and within that, he probably wasn't in the best space. Like Mark Andrews is very hard on himself, and he takes pride in his game, and he wants to help his team win in any type of way possible. So for him to do that, it was a struggle for him to come up on that podium and be asked all these questions to be looked at because he wasn't on the podium. But you seen that he put stuff out there and told the world how he was really feeling, and it was just not the time and the space for him to do something like that because of the situation. And I feel like it's the same with Zay, where hey, we're struggling. I didn't play well today, and I need to be that guy to help our team win because no one else is doing it. We ain't putting Derrick Henry on the field to help us in any type of way. We don't have our quarterback. And within the operation, I'm not getting the ball enough, or guys that need to be getting the ball is not getting the ball enough to put ourselves in the best position to win. I was gonna say beforehand, like within all the gimmicks and things like that, you can make the game simple for Cooper Rush to do quick screens or small little quick passes for these guys to just get them in the groove, to get Cooper Rush in the groove, to get the small plays where it can be second to third and 4 and 5, then third and 8 or third and 12, to help not only his mentality as a quarterback, but also the rest of the team, even the old linemen. It makes it easier for them. So, I mean, when you see that and you're struggling, and you're supposed to be that player, and you know personally that you that player that you want to help this team win and you can't do it, or you messed up within your job of not
Right.
allowing that to
Right.
happen. I mean,
This is a weird one for me, Tyus, because I've turned on this, and I've generally been I don't really care about this. Like it's also part of the way that times have changed. Once upon a time, if you didn't speak to the media, there was no way for you to say anything. Now, to the point, you can go on Instagram later and do whatever you want to do, right? Like it's just a
yeah,
different world. Zay Flowers fumbles the ball twice today. It was a bad day for Zay Flowers. I can understand that. I'm just not. I, I'm not feeling it today. I'm going through it. That whole thing. I think there's a question that people are asking about the player leadership of this group in general.
yeah,
That goes beyond just whether or not guys are at the podium or speaking to the media. That is some of this. That the continuous penalties and turnovers. Does this reflect the word that was used was accountability. Does this reflect a lack of accountability from players as leaders on this team? And I never know how to answer that question, right? We did it with the body language thing in Kansas City, and I said, look, man, you're getting your ass kicked. I think your body language is going to be bad. But I do think it's a relevant question where I acknowledge I don't know the answer to the question.
yeah. I feel like part of that is definitely on the players because you're out on the field, and within the system, within the game plan that you have, those are mental mistakes like holding calls, false starts, not knowing what the plays is, and you have dudes wide open getting the Cooper Rush, like or busted up plays where guys is wide open down the field. Those are all personal breakdowns that, as a team, you get together and you talk about that stuff. You in meetings, you tell guys to stay after. Hey, we need to get this down because based off of the meeting and us ask and the coach asking us questions or he's checking to make sure that we're good and we're not giving him a definitive answer to be like, hey, we got it down. And then it portrays to the field where we still messing up. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
we need to get together. We're not on the same page. And we can't be going another week with the same BS that guys is wide open and we're looking bad as a defense because it's not only on the coach. everybody think that it's on the coach. And I can personally say it's not all on the coach because at the end of the day, the players got to go out there and play. He
Yep.
can he can put you out. He can put the best situation out there for you. But if your rookie D tackle or your DBs in the backfield are not communicating, or they don't know what's going on when there's a motion, or during this formation, or this quarterback gives off this audible call, and you're not in tune with what needs to be done to make adjustments, then that's on you as a player because it's already been taught. But you're not doing your job as a player to put yourself in a situation to help others or yourself to help that team be better. So it can't always be on the coach. It's got to be on the players, and the players got to have that accountability. And from the most part, through all these games, I haven't seen not one player bring in the whole defense and be like, hey, I don't know what we got going on, but this got to change right now. We need to get our stuff together, and we need to come out here and get a stop. We need to come out here and get a turnover. We need to give our players the ball back, whatever the case may need to be. I haven't seen it. And from the past and when I played, that was the case where we had times where we could be 7-1, whatever the case may be, and we'd be having a rough game. Somebody gonna get everybody together and be like, hey, I don't know what y'all doing,
Let's
but
go.
we need to
Right.
get ourselves together and let's go. And I haven't seen that. So I
Well,
think that
what you seeing is everybody too busy worried about themselves. They want these podcasts, but they don't want to be. They want to be leaders in these podcasts. I'm not. And by the way, I'm not
I
mad
want
at
to get on
anybody. I'm not mad at anybody doing no podcast. I want to be clear about that. Whatever you do on your time off is what you do, right? But my thing is that you got so much to say to the general public, but then you're not speaking to your people. You're not speaking to the people that you go to war with day in and day out. I got a problem with I do have a problem with your podcast because why are you not doing this when you're in the huddle? Because I'm with you, Tyus. Somebody got to speak up and be the leader of that team. But everybody want to do their own individual thing, and you can't do that when you're playing a team sport. Never.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, trust me, I've seen the videos, I've seen the TikToks, I've seen the podcasts, and to be 1-4, 1-5, and you out here on TikTok and you out here doing podcasts, laughing and giggling and stuff like that, that tells me everything about you as a
Come
player.
on, come on.
Like, I know for me, I'm not about to be on no podcast or out here. I mean, besides, our radio show. We did our radio show when we had our losses and things like that, but you ain't about to see me out here just talking crazy or doing the most, knowing that we out here losing and getting embarrassed every single week. And we have standards as a team to be Super Bowl contenders. And we out here playing like this. And you got the time and the energy to be on TikTok doing different videos with your kids and your wives and with guys who don't even know football, and you out here just talking all different types of ways instead of using that energy, that talk, to go and talk to your players who's out here struggling, especially if you're a vet. That'd be the crazy part. It'd be some of the vets where I'm like, hey, why are you on the podcast talking and all this stuff instead of calling your rookies and your young bucks in the backfield in the secondary on the D line to be like, hey, meet up at my house. We need to go over this film together and we need to get this stuff straight up. Like, that's the accountability as not only a vet as a player, but just overall general as a player. That is a struggle that I feel, through my opinion, from the outside looking in, is the case, and some needs to be done. So
I appreciate that. I appreciate all that. All right, we did this. We went long on this one. We're not going to be with you next week. Obviously, there's no Project Game Day. There's no game. We will see.
Yay! We get a week. We get a week off, guys.
I thought you were unbothered, Rita. I
mental
thought
health,
you.
Well, no,
mental health
I'm not
week.
talking. I am unbothered. I'm just talking about like people being upset. I was outside today. I was outside drinking during the game.
We saw. We saw.
On my Instagram, I just was unbothered. I had me a good old time,
This is
friends.
a
So
mental health week coming up
Oh,
that's
for
right.
everyone in
A
Baltimore.
regroup. A
Regroup.
regroup.
we will
Everybody get
see
themselves together.
if there are changes, and we will see if Lamar Jackson is back out on the field in 2 weeks. We will deal with that then.
Look, if you're a prayer warrior, go ahead and put it in now. Okay, just go ahead and get it early.
No
Put
doubt.
your prayers in.
No doubt. Please be back to save the
Yes.
season and save our mentals, our chickens.
Yes.
All right. Of course, the Project Game Day has also been brought to you by 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services if you or a loved one has a gambling problem. Again, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Hopefully there will be good times
Love
to
you,
be had
friends.
before the season is over. This has been PressBox.